So I finally decided to give into the pressure against my will and get one of those sleep tracking devices. Track my sleep every night for a week and see what things I found out about myself and how I could potentially maximize health and recovery. My gosh, what I found out really surprised me. Let's dive into it, but you gotta focus. So my first goal was actually acquiring a sleep tracking device. I wanted something that would be reliable, do its best to track the stages of sleep, but also not be too expensive. Based on my research and previous experience, I decided to upgrade to the newest Fitbit. Well, maybe it's not the newest, but the upgrade from the model that I used in the walking 20,000 steps in a day video. I thought it was a good device, and well, it turned out it was. Only problem was when I tried to sleep with it on, I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. I'm too sensitive. So I couldn't do it. Couldn't do what you say? Sleep with this thing on my wrist. So having this thing on my wrist, first of all, throughout the day, for me is fine. I mean, I did 20,000 steps a day. I kept this on pretty much the entire day, and I walked around with it. No problem. However, when it comes to sleeping with this on, I just could not relax with this on. Like, I knew it was there. I felt it. I had my arm down to the side, and I'm like, I know you're there. I can feel you. And then, not only that, something else just kept going through my mind. Something some of you guys might think I'm crazy about, being a little too ridiculous here, is the fact that this thing is constantly pinging my phone with a radio signal. I knew that going into this, right? But then I realized when I had it on my wrist, for me, I like to sleep, you know, with an arm up towards my head, and then I switch arms, you know, so I can't really control which arm is down. And like having something pinging my phone while it's next to my head while I'm sleeping, it just didn't leave me with a good taste in my brain. If you guys are like, it's not doing anything, it's not pinging your phone, I've got my EMF detector right here. Let's turn this puppy on. So radio frequency is light, pretty much nothing right now, and I'm gonna take my Fitbit, and you can see that wave? Look at that, it's pinging. It's trying to ping me phone. Now, if anybody out there does know a way to turn the Bluetooth or the radio signals off on a Fitbit while you're sleeping, so that maybe it could store the information in here and then sync up with the phone later, let me know. I'd love to figure that out. But anyways, even on top of that, like I mentioned, having it on my wrist, just like the feeling of it on my wrist was just, it just got to me and was like, I felt like it was gonna hinder my sleep anyways. So I'm gonna have to do it. The solution, the ring. So I needed something smaller, less noticeable than a wristband, and ideally being extra sensitive, Luke. Something that, well, I could hopefully turn the radio signals off at night while I was sleeping. Something that would just store the data on the device. Then when I would sync it up to the phone later, it would transfer the data, not pinging my phone all night. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, after doing some further research, the one product that filled these blanks, the Aura Ring. So my wife and I are trying to save money, you know, we're trying to move out of this rental, trying to get a house maybe one day. But I told her, I says, listen babe, I need this for an experiment. And well, actually I didn't tell her, I just bought it. Shoot, there's nobody there. But no, it's all good, right? Because, you know, I'm going to improve my sleep, and that's going to improve my productivity and everything else. And then, you know, that will eventually equate to, what do those finance gurus call it? Like, you know, success, I guess. All jokes aside, I'm actually not joking, but anyways, freaking A. Before purchasing my Aura Ring, I actually did the smart thing and got the Aura Ring sizing kit to see how big my fingers were so I'd get the right size Aura Ring. Now, the sizing kit cost 10 bucks on Amazon, but it only took a day to get to my door. And also, apparently, I was going to get a credit towards the purchase of my Aura Ring. Now, to my surprise, trying on the different sizes, it turns out my fingers must be getting thicker from all this bigger hand training I've been doing. I almost had to go up to the absolute max sized ring. I didn't think my hands were that big. Arguably, I actually could have got away with it, but I decided I want it maybe a little bit tighter so that way I wouldn't swallow it during my sleep. So selecting the size 12 and then finally purchasing the Aura Ring. The very next day, early in the morning, it actually came, which is pretty dang fast, man. Amazon, they just, you know, oh, I did it. Oh, wow. Now, when it came to getting this thing set up, the one thing that really ticked me timbals is it made me put my credit card information in a website. Because apparently, in order to get this thing to work, I had to sign up for some monthly subscription. They made me put my card information in there before I could even access this thing. Insane. So I just paid $3.50 for this little piece of plastic, and now you're gonna make me sign up for a monthly subscription. But you know what? What's another couple bucks creeping out of my wallet every month? I figure they just, you know, just add it to the tab, right? And dagnabbit, would you frickin' look at that? Once again, as with everything nowadays, a USB cord to charge, but with no plug. What am I supposed to do with this? Like, most laptops don't even have the old USB on there anymore. Luckily, I already complained about this problem and I already found a solution. That's buying an adapter for the wall plug. I'm just being over the top, but you know, come on. Like I said last time, like how much money must they be saving by not including a plug for this? It must be a ton, for real. Anyways, at this point I was thinking this thing better be freaking good. So I filled out all my biomarkers like height, weight, etc. in the app, and then I charged this thing up for the day. And then come the first night of this experiment, I slipped the Oura Ring right on, let it start recording my data, and once I knew it was synced up, I used the one feature I actually really appreciate on this, and that's turning it on airplane mode. According to Oura Ring, while airplane mode is on, it stops all radio signals from coming out of the Oura Ring to try to communicate with the phone, which is exactly what I wanted because I didn't want something pinging through my head all night. And while being extra sensitive, Luke, I actually tested this out with my EMF detector, and I noticed I wasn't picking up much, if any, radio signals even when the Oura Ring wasn't on airplane mode, but when turning it on airplane mode, it was pretty much nothing more than background radio signals. Cool, but would it actually store the data within and be able to sync up in the morning? That's what I'd find out. But first, how was my first night's sleep wearing this thing on my index finger? Well, I'm sorry I'm so sensitive and sound like Weenie Hut Juniors over here, but it was still a little bit annoying knowing something was on my hand. However, within about 5 minutes of trying to remain still, sensory adaptation kicked in, and I was able to overcome that sensation. The only other annoying thing was about every couple minutes or so, a green light would emanate from the ring. I almost quit right here. I really did. I almost quit right here. I almost took this thing off, flushed it down the drain, and not flushed it down the drain, put it back in the box and shipped it back. But no, I came up with a solution, and that's just tuck my hand under the blankets. And that actually worked. So it barely passed, but it passed. And after my first night wearing this ring, taking it off, putting it back on the charger so that airplane mode would turn off and it would sync the data back with my phone, reviewing the data, I was pleasantly surprised. So I am pleasantly surprised to say I got an optimal sleep score last night. 86. So apparently I was in bed for 8 hours and 52 minutes. It is the weekend, by the way. And my total sleep was 8 hours and 7 minutes for a sleep efficiency of 91%. You can look at all these other metrics here. REM sleep, 2 hours, 25 minutes. Deep sleep, 1 hour, 44 minutes. It says there's a little red next to my timing. I think that's because I went to bed late. But, I'm actually pleasantly surprised. Oh, you stupid little expensive hip ring there. You got me, you. It's pretty cool. Now this first bit of data was taken from Saturday night to Sunday morning, so it was the weekend. Maybe I was a little bit more relaxed and able to sleep better, but even so I was pleasantly surprised, for I've always been someone who's considered themselves a poor sleeper. However, recently I've been doing 3 things that I swear has improved my sleep. Now I don't have any data to track my sleep before I started doing this, but I'm telling you I've been sleeping better just based on my own feeling. Those 3 things I've been doing: stop being on my phone or looking at any screens at least 30 minutes before bed, taking magnesium before bed, and when needed, using my vagal nerve stimulator with coherent breathing right before bed to get myself in a rest and digest state. Keep in mind this technique might work opposite for some people, but for me, based on previous data I took and how I feel, it really helps me get relaxed. And before I get any further, I should probably explain the important stages of sleep and how they may relate to optimizing mental, physical performance, and growth. So stage 1 is actually just the transition into sleep, where your heartbeat and breathing slow down, your muscles relax, and well, you're lying there peacefully as you drift off. Now stage 2 is light sleep. This is what I would consider the actual first real sleep. The body temperature apparently drops, the brain produces these sleep spindles. I guess if they put wires on your brain, they could see these little jiggly waveforms or something like that. Now the eyes are apparently not moving, and apparently the sleep is typically the bulk of the sleep for the night. Now for the goodies, drifting off into the next stage, sometimes this is considered 2 stages. This is actually apparently the deepest sleep state, where your brain produces these delta waves. The heartbeat and breathing are apparently at the slowest rate, and in this stage is apparently where the most tissue repair, growth, and cell regeneration happens. Now I assume all stages of sleep are important, but when I was looking at these facts, I figured this is one I probably really want to pay attention to. However, moving over to the final stage, this is the notorious REM sleep. REM standing for rapid eye movement. Apparently your eyes go looking all over the place at the inside of your lids. Breathing, heart rate, and brain activity apparently increase, but ideally the limb and muscles become temporarily paralyzed, so you don't accidentally act out your dreams. Yeah, that's right, this is the stage where apparently you get the most dreams. Now all this going on doesn't sound too relaxing to me, but apparently healthy REM sleep is critical for enhancing learning and memory, supporting emotion regulation, improving creativity and problem solving, brain development, etc. So it's all a balance, I suppose. Now apparently the typical person goes through these stages of sleep 4 to 6 times a night. So you cycle through them, you don't just go through them once. Anyways, the Oura Ring apparently collects data from heart rate, blood oxygen, breathing regularity, heart rate variability, temperature, and movement to best estimate what stages of sleep you're in. And while breaking down my day 1 data, we can see awake probably being that stage 1 sleep, and then I went into light sleep for a little bit, but then into deep sleep, and then apparently it says I went back awake again before going back into light sleep, but then into REM sleep, then into light sleep, then into deep sleep, and then blah blah blah. But what I'm getting at is it didn't look like it was a perfect cycle every time. Maybe it was just the way it was tracking my sleep and it wasn't always 100% accurate, or maybe I just do have sleep issues. However, looking at my totals and then based on my research, comparing them to the recommended amounts, deep sleep, first of all, I found that most adults need apparently between 1.5 hours to 2 hours of deep sleep per night. That first night I got 1 hour 44 minutes, smack dab in the middle, son. Now apparently it suggested REM sleep be a similar amount of time per night. Now this one, according to my Oura Ring, I got 2 hours and 25 minutes. Ooh, I'm a dreamer. And then the total remainder of light sleep, apparently 3 hours 59 minutes for a total of 8 hours and 7 minutes of total sleep. Now some other metrics, my average oxygen saturation apparently was at 97%, and also my breathing regularity was only good. That's like getting a B when you want an A. Apparently I was waking up sometimes during the night because my breathing was being disturbed. What the heck was going on there? I had to figure that out. Then also my lowest heart rate was 56 BPM, my average being 62 while sleeping. What the heck? While that might seem low, me considering myself an athlete, I would assume that would actually be a lot lower. And then most surprising, my average HRV when sleeping was 42. This is a metric I've taken many times in the past, and it can show you how ready or recovered you are. The lower the number, the worse. And typically when I've taken this in the past, at least a snapshot in the morning, it's been at least in the 50s, so what the heck? Well, I wasn't going to get too drawn in on just this one night's worth of data. I was going to have to take more data and see how it tracked throughout the week. Unfortunately, after this weekend's night of sleep came the weekday where I had to get up super early. Alright, so going to bed right now, 10:30 approximately. I'm going to actually wake up at 6 tomorrow, kind of have to. So it's not going to be necessarily 8 hours, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, you know what? Wrong finger. It's supposed to go on the index finger. Pretty tired, so hopefully I'll get that deep sleep again like I did yesterday. I'm pleasantly surprised, and we'll see how we feel tomorrow. And boom, having to get up early but going to bed maybe a little late, I only got 6 hours and 47 minutes of sleep on night 2. However, to my pleasant surprise, at least according to my Oura Ring, my deep sleep, that important one that I was talking about when it comes to growth, recovery, repair, was exactly the same amount as it was on day 1 where I slept 8 hours. So, phew. However, with my REM sleep being significantly less and my total overall sleep being less than night 1, after waking up from night 2, I did feel particularly groggy. And this is where things get interesting. You see, feeling groggy but needing to tackle the day and also planning a workout, I decided to up the caffeine. That's right, drink more coffee. And by the time I got to my workout, I actually wasn't feeling the effects of maybe having a lesser night's sleep. However, the aftermath of the extra caffeine and the intense workout left me feeling antsy, on edge, and restless even into the night as I was getting ready to go to bed. You could see how this is setting up for a negative spiral. Good evening, guys. Sorry, I have a mouth guard on, that's why I'm talking strange. I'm a grinder. Had a pretty intense workout today, but I might have pushed the workout too late and I may have had a little too much caffeine. And I'm still feeling kind of like wired right now, to be honest with you. So I'm working on trying to calm myself down. Took some magnesium, doing some vagal nerve stimulation. Anyways, I'm gonna be interested to see how my sleep score is tonight, because typically when things like this happen, I kind of get up out of bed a lot, so yeah. So were my pre-bed techniques going to be enough to help me overcome this excessive stimulation on this day? Well, while they may have helped, it wasn't perfect. And that night I suffered the consequences of my own doing. Oh, so yeah, time in bed 8 hours 37 minutes, but total sleep is only 6 hours and 32 minutes, so 2 hours in there that I was not sleeping. REM sleep looks like it was down, but hey, you know what? Deep sleep looks like it was still up there, hour and 55 minutes. That's the one where I think a lot more growth hormone is released, so that, and muscle recovery and whatnot, so that's good because I had a pretty intense workout yesterday. And around 3:34 is where I was up, man, awake for 2 hours, man. Looks like I got all my deep sleep before I woke up the first time. Honestly, I felt pretty stuffy too last night. Like, I was having trouble breathing through my nose. Probably should have got one of those nose strips. Not as bad as I thought, to be real. According to that, like, it doesn't look as bad as I thought. I thought that would be like an abysmal night's sleep, but it says fair, so I guess, you know what, honestly I feel like I've had this before, and when I do get going I don't notice that I slept bad, so we'll see how today goes. Coffee. It's terrible, but I'm gonna do it, of course. So while my REM and total sleep suffered, to my surprise, actually my deep sleep was the most it has been so far. Maybe my body was in shock and was like, bro, you need to get deep so you can recover. Now aside from that, my heart rate seemed a little bit lower than it was before, which was interesting because I thought it would actually be up due to all that caffeine probably still circulating through my system when I was trying to sleep. But aside from that, my breathing regularity was still only good, and my HRV still seemed a little low. Boom, we're dialed in. So I actually ended up working out today, but unlike yesterday, unlike last night, I feel a lot more calm right now. I'm still gonna go through my pre-bed routine, but unfortunately it is a little bit later than I wanted to be getting to bed tonight, so I don't think I'm gonna be getting 8 hours of sleep because I gotta get up a little early tomorrow. But hopefully it's quality sleep, so we'll see though. Got it on, off to bed. So yeah, even though not having the best night's sleep, I decided to work out again during that day. I wanted to start this other experiment, and while I actually had a decent workout, feeling a lot more tired that night, going to sleep expecting to make up for that lost sleep previously, I actually ended up only sleeping 6 hours and 18 minutes. Interesting enough, this time my deep sleep seemed down from previous days, but my REM sleep seemed like it was made up for. Once again, breathing regularity only good. I was still having slight disturbances. What was going on here? HRV very low, and heart rate basically where it has been. Anyways, enough with my analysis. I did have to wake up early, so I got to get on with my day now and set things right for tomorrow. Now after 2 days of working out, jacking myself up on caffeine, and then 2 lacking night's sleeps, getting to work was interesting. As opposed to earlier in the week where I felt like I was able to work for hours on end before taking a break, I felt like I was only able to focus on a task for about 10 minutes before I wanted to just stare off into space. Honestly, work has been going decent today. Like, it isn't absolutely abysmal or anything like that, but I absolutely believe that I would be way more in the zone if I would have gotten an extra hour or 2 of sleep last night. I noticed I'm like doing a task pretty well, but then all of a sudden I max out that set of a task, you know. It's like, oh, okay, I'm done, and then I start zoning off into something else, just like me picking this piece of banana off my desk right now, losing focus, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But now it's like, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do better today. I'm gonna try to go to bed earlier, hopefully get quality sleep, make up for today, and hopefully have a better day tomorrow. Oh, because tomorrow is also another jump training day, and I need to be recovered as I can so that I can perform. Now luckily, the next morning, which isn't typical during the work week, I caught a break. I was able to sleep in and not have to wake up early. So I decided to take advantage of this and try to sleep as long as I could. Optimal, baby. So I actually spent 9 hours, 27 minutes in bed. However, my total sleep was only 8 hours and 28 minutes, so about an hour of just laying there. And according to my Oura Ring, during this time, my deep sleep was only an hour and 39 minutes. Also, my breathing regularity was only still good. Apparently, I was being disturbed still. What the heck was going on? Do I have sleep apnea or something like that? I needed to figure this out. Now, on a positive note, my average HRV on this night was actually the highest it was so far. 55, apparently ready to go. So how was my workout on this day? Meh, it was alright. In fact, it was a little subpar. To be honest with you, not what I would expect after getting over 8 hours of sleep. But if I had to assume, I would say perhaps I wasn't fully recovered from those previous subpar nights of sleep. But hey, you just gotta power through, so I did. And as the week went on, I tried my best to make up for it. I feel like tonight I'm gonna get some really good sleep, so good night, y'all. Now, a couple silly things I ended up doing. Well, I taped this sheet to my curtains to add an additional layer of sun blockage. I felt like while I should be optimizing and waking up with the sun, because some nights I was going to bed later, maybe the sun was waking me up abnormally early. So, hey, maybe a little bit more sleep could have benefited me there. Also, my in-room air filter, something I feel like has made such a big difference for improving that indoor air quality. Well, I kind of got lazy and hadn't changed the pre-filter in quite a while, so I decided to do that. Oh, dang, boy. But also on this next night, I caught a break and the temperature dropped. Why is that a break, you ask? Well, because the room felt significantly less stuffy when it was cooler. And well, even though going to bed late that night, that next day I ended up getting a total sleep of 7 hours and 23 minutes, deep sleep being an hour 47 minutes, and finally, according to the Oura Ring, my breathing regularity was optimal. So perhaps there was some kind of stuffy dust in the room, causing some irregular breathing variations when I was sleeping. Whew. Praise the Lord, it's not sleep apnea, I hope. And then after the next night, I ended up with an optimal sleep score, sleeping 7 hours, 46 minutes, having optimal breathing regularity, and also having my highest yet average HRV at 58 with a max at 113.
Rest day, cruising.
With that being said, I now had 7 days of sleep data. Compiling it all together, what additionally would I learn about my sleep? How could I improve it going forward? And what else might I embark on along the way? Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the results. Tracking my sleep for an entire week, I've got to be honest, I think I learned some very important things for myself here going forward to help me optimize recovery, performance, and just well-being. So I actually compiled the sleep data from these 7 days in this experiment right here in the spreadsheet. Let's take a look. One thing I kind of had to look at but stood out to me is that actually REM sleep seems to be loosely correlated with having a higher average HRV, as long as that's also tied in with total overall sleep. So I have total overall sleep right here, REM sleep, and when they both peaked at their somewhat highest, you can see my average HRV was also pretty darn one of the highest, right? But then it became even the highest out of all the recordings at the end here, average HRV, when REM sleep was also high, and total sleep was pretty high, but not at the highest. So, and when deep sleep did drop off a little bit, HRV dropped off significantly, but as it crept back up, HRV also increased as well. So based on this data, in my opinion, like I mentioned, even though deep sleep is responsible for inducing, the most growth, recovery, etc., I think REM sleep is equally as important. I think that balance over the sleep cycles is important. But without trying to break down everything and get too scientific and, looking at this and that and the other thing, variations do happen. But if we do some math and we look at some averages here, if you look at my total sleep, average for the week, it's only 7 hours and 20 minutes on average. I think I could get away with that, to be honest with you. I could, but as of recently, I've been really up in the intensity of my training and whatnot, and also have been in a calorie deficit, and I think, I feel like I could probably benefit from a little bit more sleep, Anyways, trying to break down all this data, looking at the numbers, do I need more of this, do I need more of that, what does the science say, blah, blah, blah. I gotta be real, I think what actually matters the most is how I'm feeling. But I think looking at this data and combining it with how I'm feeling throughout these days has actually taught me the most. I actually kept a daily journal where I just wrote down a few minor notes every single day. It kind of shows me an overall summary. And what I do have to say is it does seem like half the time I am feeling kind of groggy throughout the day. Could this be to trying to chase a lack of sleep with more caffeine and then thus kind of reducing the efficiency of the next night's sleep and ending up down this like negative spiral? But also another factor that I didn't mention yet is consistency. Consistency of the time that I have been going to sleep and waking up. To be honest, when we look at that week that I just had there, it isn't that consistent. Some days I'm going to bed, 11, 11:30. Other days I'm going to bed 9:30, 10. It's a little bit all over the place. I think if I could bring that in a little bit more, make it a little bit more consistent, I'd have more consistent numbers and feel consistently better. Also, another thing I was getting a little concerned about was the breathing. Although it said my breathing was good, it told me frequently on the first couple of days that I had a few breathing disturbances towards the night. Now, upon investigating what could potentially be going on, I figured maybe it's my air filter, maybe it got too dusty, and when I changed it, like I mentioned in this video, there was a lot of dust on it, and I got rid of that dust. But also, like I did mention in this video, I got lucky on that night as well, and it was cooler out, so the cooler air made the room feel less stuffy. And well, those final 2 nights right there, I had an optimal breathing score. I guess I didn't have any breathing disturbances, and my blood oxygen was elevated closer to that 100% mark. Anyways, at the end of the day, looking at all this data and tracking my sleep and how I feel each and every day, I think I've put together some very important points for myself to look at going forward on how to improve performance, recovery, health, etc. However, I do have to say, coming up, I'm going to be trying a very interesting sleep experiment that you guys might be able to figure out because I mentioned it in the comments. Well, you guys suggested it in the comments. I said I was already working on doing it, and well, I'm doing it right now, and I'm doing it while recording the audio to this experiment, so forgive me if the audio might seem a little bit all over the place and tone fluctuation or whatever, but I'm trying to keep myself at my voice at a certain pace here so I don't just blah, 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 because if you haven't picked up on it already, I'm kind of struggling a little bit right now, and it's early on in this experiment. But that's a whole nother story coming in the future. Now, one more thing. Oura Ring. They did not sponsor this video. They did not pay me to say anything. I bought this with my own money, as we saw. I know everything I said about it. You know, I was kind of making fun of it. It is expensive, I'm not gonna lie, and I am a little bit ticked off. They made me sign up for a monthly subscription to something. Is there any way around that? Do you have to do that? Can I just do a free version with ads or something? Like, please let me know. It seemed like it made me want to do that. Maybe I missed the button to skip it or something. I don't know. But I think I do get like a month or a couple months or something like that free. I don't know. I'd have to look into it. But other than this being expensive, other than the potential monthly subscription, like the technology here, I gotta say, is pretty darn freaking cool. Now, I said this thing was plastic. It might be plastic, or it might just be a polymer coating around this thing. There might be actually some kind of like alloy holding this all together, like metal or something. And you know, there's obviously a battery and whatnot. Like, I've got to be real. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's pretty dang crazy. And the fact that you can turn it on airplane mode so it's not releasing any radio signals or trying to ping my phone while I was sleeping or doing anything else. And I think I can do that for up to 7 days. That's pretty dang sick. So yeah, maybe I'll wear this on the daily for the next month and make a video on just this, a full review on this. But as of right now, as of so far, I don't know, I'm pretty impressed. Let me know if you guys tracked your sleep, how that went, what you guys figured out. I always love reading the comments. Follow the clues, stay tuned. Hope you guys all have a great day. Peace. I will see you all in the next video.